Just give me something to start with. A little rest is fine. I'll give you many hours, a minute at a time. I don't care where you came from, but I want you to know I may have to start over. I'm learning as I go. When I'm done, I'll be the one to take you down the road. We'll leave behind our troubles, and everyone will know.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Joe Daddy's Garage. I just love that song. I do. And I've had the same opening to all of my live streams for quite some time, and I still have it queued up, but I love that song and the story that that song tells. So I posted that regular video of that a couple weeks ago, and I've gotten some good responses on it, but I just think it tells such a great story. If you haven't seen it, go watch the other video, because it's basically the restoration process of my grandfather's Model A, and I don't know, it hits home. I listen to that song every day. Anybody who's into cars and fixing cars up can relate to that story of that song. So, anywho, it is Monday, May 11th, 2026. And, for a period of time, I was trying to do the Sunday night live streams. I think I just can't do it. We talked about it. It seems like Monday nights are going to be the way that it's going to go. In fact, yesterday, of course, we had Mother's Day, so I couldn't have done it yesterday either, because we spend time with our kids and grandkids, and it just doesn't work. So Monday it is, I guess. It's just the way it's going to end up. I know hopefully you all saw the last video that I did, and it was on making the tunnel on the 68 Fastback. And I was, well, how do I put it? Anxious, I guess, is the way I want to say it. Because whenever I've done something many, many times, it's kind of blasé. It's like, I'm putting on another fender. I'm putting on another quarter panel. Well, I've never done a tunnel on anything. And I try to research stuff as much as I can, and I end up, thinking it over. And finally, of course, there's a lot of stuff that happened in between, but finally we came up with some panels, and it worked out great. I'm very happy with how that looks. And I know I've had some people contact me already, and they said, "Hey, where can I buy some of those panels?" And it wasn't intended that way, because my friend who, as you saw, if you saw the video, big industrial machines that they basically sell and service, he did it as a favor. So I don't think that's an avenue that we can pursue, but it just gives you some ideas as to something you may be able to do on your own. Now, the tunnel is welded in, and I've talked about it before, that the headers have been the headache, as we all know. And I was under the impression that Sal was going to start producing the new headers as of this past week. But he sent me some more text messages, and he had gone so far as to buy 3 different starters, because I brought it up to him. I said, "Hey, is this going to clear the starter?" Because the images he sent me, it did not have a starter on the engine. He said yes. I said, "Well, okay, I'm just asking." So he ended up buying 3 starters, and apparently one of them, it kind of fought, and it was a 6R80 starter. So I'm thinking they're tweaking it. They're tweaking that header, because they'd used a starter for the 10R80, and they used a starter for the manual transmission or something. But he implied that 6R80, it was causing a problem. I'm glad they're checking it, because that's what we're dealing with. 6R80 Coyote, and they need to make sure it's going to fit. So there'll be more on that coming up, I'm sure, and we're going to get updates on that from Sal. And I know, I'm confident once he gets those figured out and makes a set, starts producing them, we'll probably get the first set off the line and be able to show those and demonstrate how they fit. So, anywho, as I said, it's Monday, May 11th, and if you're new to my live stream and you're just checking me out, I do this on Monday nights. Monday nights at 7 o'clock, and the intent is to talk about cars, obviously, but also to share information and hopefully answer some questions. So if you have something you want to bring up, and my knowledge base is pretty solid between like 1955 and 1980 as far as cars go. I mean, I've worked on everything up into the 2000s, but generally I work on older stuff. But I'm working on my daughter's 2011 Honda CR-V right now because unfortunately she got in an accident. So I've started taking that apart, and I'm in the middle of buying parts and processing it. And just to give you an update on that, the insurance adjuster came by today, gave it a once over. As soon as he saw that the airbags were popped, he said, "Yeah, it's totaled," which I figured. The steering wheel airbag popped, and so he went through everything. I mean, nose to tail. He's really good at what he did. And he came up with a number, and I was like, what? He came up with basically to fix up her car, which I'm telling you had I say minor collision up front. It was over $10,000 to fix it. Now that is putting in, like probably some original Honda parts. Like that's going with a brand new OEM airbag. I can't argue that. That's what they're going to go with. They can't take the liability. But it was $10,000 for them to fix. And at the end of it, they came back and said, basically they'd cut me a check for the vehicle because I have a high deductible. They said, we'll give you basically $5,000 for it. And I couldn't do it. I just couldn't, because the problem I ran into, it was a good vehicle, but try to find another one for that price. Probably not. Not going to happen. So I started working on it because that's what I do. And I've already taken the front end apart. I've got parts on order, and I'm going to be close for my cost, probably about $1,000 into it, I think. Now it's not labor, of course. And then I'll have to get some paint the bumper cover, maybe fix up the hood. But I'm gonna guesstimate less than $1,200 for me to fix it. That's my guesstimate. Anyway, so that's what I was doing today. I went to the U-Pull-It yard and got parts and started ordering, Kappa certified parts. I like Kappa certified. Ordered some parts from off of Amazon actually, and so parts are coming, and stuff is happening, and we'll get it put back together. That's what I do. So let's get started with the first one in tonight, and that is Rick Stevenson. Now, normally I give Rick a salute for coffee, but today, while I was out running around, I got some Dunkin'. I like Dunkin' coffee. So I like coffee, period, but glad you're here, Rick. George Crackle. Happy Monday night, Barry and company. Looking forward to another great chat. Thumbs up. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Let's see. Rick Gain. Hope everybody's doing well. Don't forget to give Barry a thumbs up. Thank you, Rick. And I'll tell you this. I was panicking a little bit whenever I do these live streams. I have to click onto the StreamYard function, and they update the stuff all the time. It would not open the window. And I was like rebooting like 10 times before it finally opened up. And there's some new features on there, which is going to help. Sometimes when I click on somebody's name and their comment on the box that I have on my screen, they would all stay the same. Like you wouldn't know which one you had talked about. And now what they've done is made it so that it shadows it down a little bit. So now I can be confident that I've clicked on somebody's comment. So that's a big plus. That'll help. Terry Keithley, hi there, everyone, and Barry. Please hit the thumbs up and like button for Barry. Thank you kindly, Terry and Betty and the cats. Thank you, Terry. Jerry's Garage, the Money Pit. Good evening from Middle Tennessee to all. Thumbs up for Barry. Thank you, Jerry. And hey, Matco Man. Hello, everyone. Hello, sir. Glad you're here. Dave Tyson. Good evening, all. Evening, Dave. First Dave of the night, I think. Shannon Vaughn is checking in. Haven't seen Shannon in a while. Hello, everyone. Hello, Shannon. Glad you're here. Pat Attic. Good evening from PA. Good evening, sir. And I think I've already mentioned this before. We're going to be making another road trip back to PA. Since you brought up PA, mid-June. I think it's mid-June. We're going to head back up. Memorial service for Mom, and family get together and all that stuff. So we'll be heading back up that way. Should be good and hot by then, right? Nandu, good evening, Barry and everyone. Hope you're doing well. Thank you, sir. And I feel like I am doing well. A lot of times I'm aching and groaning, but today it's been a decent day. Mr. Mikey, present, Sir Barry. Greetings and salutations to all. Boy, look at those big words. Thank you, Mr. Mikey. Robert checking in, the Infernal Craftsman. Evening all. Next week, you will be alone with just the Queen watching unless I am up that late. Well, we'll take what we can get. We'll take what we can get. And Jerry, the Queen, says, howdy, Barry, howdy, y'all. I'm shipping Robert off to Greece, but we'll have a nice, relaxing time. So, yep, it will just be me next week. Have a great car chat. Thank you, Jerry. Ed Cucciarella, hello, all. Love that new intro. Thank you, Ed. I appreciate that. I do. That song, like I said, I wrote the words and the whole everything. I wrote all the words. No assistance there, but the music is AI generated. And, I've been trying to pursue how I could make that maybe available to some artists to do, but apparently there's some real loopholes with AI generated melody, and I can't do much with it, at least at this point. But I can still play it, and I still have the license to it, but I really do. I like that a lot. Pat says he likes that new intro. Thank you, Pat. Art Man, good evening. Checking in from Minnesota. Glad you're here, Art. Roger, Hindsight 6'7". Greetings from next door. Greetings, Raj. Yeah, I had to text Roger earlier today. I was panicking a little bit. I've got a lot of tools in my garage. I do. I have shelves, and I have boxes, and I have plastic bins and all kinds of stuff. And I was trying to do some work on the CRV, and I was trying to assess codes, because it was in an accident. And I have that Top Dawn code reader, tool. I couldn't find it, and I was all over the place. Even my wife came out and was looking around in the garage. I was like, I can't believe I put this somewhere. I can't find it. And it was like just behind something on a shelf. And I looked at the box because the box is really big. And in my mind, you know how it is. You picture something smaller. That's what you look for. You don't go for that. That's why we as men, we can't find stuff in the fridge. We get this all the time. If you go looking for a bottle of ketchup, it could be right there in front of you. But because in our minds, we're looking for something red, and the bottle might be half empty or hidden behind the mustard or something, and you can't see any color, it's invisible. It doesn't exist because we can't see the red, because that's what our mind is looking for. And apparently women don't have that problem. They can see right through the bottle, right through the mustard, and see the red and know that it's right there, and you look like an idiot. So I was looking for my scan tool, and I texted Raj because, maybe he borrowed it. Maybe he wanted to borrow it. I said, here, I don't know. I've been very willing to share my tools with everybody. And sometimes you just forget. Troy says, good evening, Troy Justin. Good evening from Utah. I'm visiting family this week, so I won't be staying long. Have a good chat. Thank you, Troy. Yeah, usually he's on the coast of Georgia, if I remember correctly. And hard to say Utah. David, Bowler Hat Guy. Hello, all. Good evening, Barry. Good evening, David. Glad you're here. Jerry said you should check out Make It Custom. Great work. I think I've seen that guy. Gig'em Garage. Good evening, Barry. Kevin Barth checking in from Dallas. Glad you're here, Kevin. Rusty's Restoration. Hello, Barry and all. The trans tunnel is looking great. Give a thumbs up. Thank you. Rick Ain, you can likely repair the entire Honda with a 10mm wrench and a trim panel removal tool. I hope that process goes well. Yeah, and it's already going pretty well. Initially, when I first looked at the accident, without taking stuff apart, the core support was bent on the bottom. And I thought, I don't want to cut this all out. I don't want to do all that. And I started looking at it a little harder. I'm like, well, it's barely rolled back. Even the adjuster, when we were talking about it, he's like, yeah. He said, I would just roll that, flatten that back out and mount your stuff. And I'm like, yeah. So I'm not buying the core support. And I'm just going to reshape the metal because it's not even like a hard bend. It's more like a curve. And so I'll get that straightened up. I have parts on order. It'll probably be a few days before I get the main components. Like, it broke both of the fans that go behind the radiator. Of course, it broke the radiator and it broke the condenser. So all of that stuff's going to have to be, replaced. But I don't want to pull like the radiator out yet because the transmission lines are still connected and it still runs and drives. So I don't want to separate that until I get that together. But yeah, really a 10mm wrench will do just about anything on a Honda. Good point. Jerry says Duncan's the best. Yeah, Duncan's really good. I don't know if it's the best, but it's really good. Richland Restorations. Doyle is here. The Cutlass is getting closer to color. Body is in high build and sanded down to 400 grit. Very good. Glad you're here, Doyle. Jerry, do you know who furnishes, I guess? Or is it supplies? Is that what we're asking? Dunkin' Donuts coffee. No, not a clue. No idea. But you can tell me, and I'd appreciate that. Dave Conville, good evening. Evening, Dave. Glad you're here. And Rick says, nice job with the mini split video. I hope that's working out well, especially with the hot weather coming. Well, thank you for that. Yeah, I did a mini split video on my other channel, Joe Daddy's Workshop. Now, years ago, I did a mini split video in a garage, and I was for the Mr. Cool system. And that system is self-contained, meaning you connect all the lines and you don't vacuum anything down. Basically, you make the connections, open up the lines, and it's ready to go. The other systems don't do that. And so they have the lines already have the coolant in them, but it's a different process. So, or not the lines themselves, but the machine. So I had never done that before with like a vacuum pump on something like that. So I just went ahead and did it. And it turned out great. It's nice to have that unit now operating in our sunroom. Previously we had a window unit in there, and I grew to hate that thing because it's big and heavy and bulky, and it's just no fun to put in and out of the window. So mini split it is. Mini split it is. Julian picked up the subframe and A-arms from the powder coat today. That's a bonus. Always nice to have shiny, clean parts. Let's see. Terry Keithley, I've been having a gob panic attack. Yeah. I'm out of gobs. We ate them all. All gone. Rick, unfortunately, I gave up on loaning tools out because getting them back was very difficult. Lost many tools that way. Yeah, I've loaned tools, but I've like never written anything down. Yeah, sure, here, And it's a funny story. I had bought some tools from a fellow employee at Delta, mechanic, who had bought, he had half-inch drive, snap-on, breaker bar, ratchet, extensions, short sockets, and tall sockets, right? From like 3/8 to 1.25 inches. This is a very expensive set. You think about it. But he sold them all to me really cheap. And I've used them many, many, many times. And one day I went to go in my toolbox and I went looking for my half-inch breaker bar. And I couldn't find that thing anywhere. I'm like, well, there's only one place I've got a drawer. I've got a drawer in that box. Right there. Third one down is all half-inch stuff. Everything. And I'm like, there's nowhere else for this to go. I couldn't find it. I ended up having to use something else, and I kind of forgot about it. And it was like 5 years later. I mean, like 5 years later, a friend of mine, he asked me to stop by his house and help him with his, I think it was putting something on a car. I don't know if it was putting brakes on or something. And he asked me if I could come by. And I said, sure. I went over there and looked at it. And I fixed up, helped him fix up his thing. He said, oh, yeah, by the way, this is your tool. And I'm like, that's my breaker bar. I said, how long have you had it? And he's like, I don't know. It's been years. It's just been sitting over here on this shelf. So miraculously, I got my half-inch breaker bar back. I was shocked. I couldn't even remember that I loaned it to him. That's the worst part about it. I couldn't remember that I loaned it to him. So, happily I got that back. Jerry says, still saying Duncan is the best. Well, like I said. So Jerry says it's really just Folgers. I have to take his word for it. I've never researched it. I mean, I don't know. I'll take your word for it, Jerry. I will. I couldn't tell the difference. Jack W. Good evening, Barry. Good evening, Jack. Glad you're here. Then we have Steve Reed. Hello, Barry and everyone. Hope everyone's doing great. And don't forget to give Barry a thumbs up. And looks like your transmission tunnel is coming around. Yes, it is, Steve. Thank you for that. Travis, one of my top patrons. Good evening, all. Super busy at work. Have a great week, all. Won't be able to watch. Okay. Well, glad you're here. So I have some other news, let's say. If you remember, I've talked about it before, the Falcon project, that this vehicle right here, that I picked up last year. And when I got that thing, it had an engine with it. I don't know if I have a picture of it up there or not. And it was an odd configuration. I don't know if I have. No, I don't have it. That's the bottom of the car. But it was that Mercruiser engine, which is over there, sitting in that pile. And I have no interest in it because it's not my thing. I want to do a 302 in that car because it makes sense to me. But the guy who had the Falcon was trying to put in that Mercruiser boat engine that was built for a car. And so I'm like, what am I going to do with this thing? I can't just give it away, really, and I'm not going to scrap it. So I finally put it up for sale, and last night over the past couple of days, somebody contacted me, and we shared information, and they said they want it. So that's a big plus. That's it's on a cart. I can move it around if I need to, but I had nowhere else to put that. And so that is now, it'll be the end of, he's gonna get it the end of June. So he's put a deposit on it, and it's gonna go away, which I'm very happy about, because I'm working on the 302 stuff, or gathering parts. Where's my pointer? Over there. So right there is a set of Edelbrock Performer cylinder heads that I picked up. Got a good deal on those, and those are going to be in the going in the Falcon project. So there's stuff to do. It's just I don't get in a hurry. Like, I look for deals and I look for stuff that I can buy over time and accumulate, and then hopefully hopefully get it all put together and make it work. So that's why I have been accumulating like those heads, and there's a 302 sitting over here, right there, and that's a Mexican block 302, and every little thing adds up. So, but one other thing I want to talk about with that is I'm going to be putting in a 9-inch rear end in the back of that car, and it's already configured. I don't know if any of the pictures will show it very well. It's already got there you go. So it's already has frame connectors built in, and they started building a 4-link setup underneath this thing. And you can see this kills me. This needs a floor pan. I don't like that. I don't like rust holes. But anyway, this thing has this nice heavy-duty frame connector, and you can see the perch there for the 4-link setup. And up front, it has the CPP setup underneath. So that's already I'm not going to change any of that. But I wanted to put together the rear end because right now it's not set up. It's just I can roll it around. And the guy who had it and the shop that was working on it, they started to build a rear end, and the guy decided to send it off and have some work done to it or something. I don't remember. I don't know what the story was. But they took all the tabs off. They had tack welded the mount points onto that housing, and when they sent it away for whatever they were doing, I guess the guy took the tabs back off for whatever reason. So I was looking through the stuff the other day, and so here's one of the bars for the 4-link, and it's got the double threaded end, right? So you got one on each end. And I looked at this thing and I said, wait a minute, that's a big bolt. That's a big bolt going through there. I need to make sure I get the right, find the right pieces. So I was digging around in some of the boxes, and I found these. Now, I could tell you 9 times out of 10 when I build something, I overbuild it. This thing, that looks like nothing when it comes down to it. So the hole is a 5/8 hole. I don't know if these were part of a kit. I really don't know. But this plate, I found 3 of the plates. So there's 2 plates put together. And I'm like, wait a minute. So I measured this thing. This plate is 0.175. That's pretty thin when it comes down to it, to what I would want is structurally sound, right? So I'm like, I don't like that at all. So I started looking around online. Let me tell you, wait till you see this. I ordered a set of these ears. Look at this beast compared to this. This is a tank compared to a Bradley fighting vehicle. I mean, that's what it comes down to. Look at the size of it. These plates are 3/8 of an inch thick. And I'm like, that's me. That's what I want. I'm not going to make this thing something I go around a turn and it bends. I want these bulletproof plates, and it's 5/8 hole. And these things, to buy these, they were on Amazon for like $5.99 a piece, plus shipping. That was the catch. They had to get you on shipping. But $5.99 a piece for these things. And this is the right size for that rear end that I have. So that's going to be very beneficial moving forward. And the company that sells these is called Moto Built. I don't know if you ever heard of them or not. They sent me some stickers. So that's the name of the company, Motobuilt. And apparently they have a bunch of stuff like this on their site. But I just wanted to show you that because there's a difference between something like this, which feels like you could just almost just hit it with a mallet, hammer and bend it over, versus this, which you can pull a tank out of the woods with it. So, anyway, I have new plates here. Let me see here. We got Richard. I know it says Richland, and I know it's Doyle, but it's hard for me to get that right. Rewatch your Jade video on high build for some tips. Thanks for keeping the archive available for us. Yeah, you're welcome. You are welcome. I've talked about that before. The idea of potentially pulling all that stuff out of there, but I don't know. I tend to want people to learn and understand things, and so, it is what it is. But I'm glad you enjoyed those. TJ Stang. Barry, when is the next car show at Summit in McDonough? Do you happen to know? Looking forward to making some local car shows. I do not know. I have not kept up with that. I have a friend who does. He helps host a car show. I don't even know where it's technically at. It's like on the south side of where we live, where I live. I think it's called Black Smoke Coffee is the name of the company. And they have a coffee house there, and they do a car show there. I think it might be every month. They do it's a pretty nice setup. But it's my friend who owns Atlanta Auto Restoration. He takes cars there and he helps put on the show. But I went to that one I think a year ago. And I haven't been able to go back since. But I don't know when the one in McDonough, at Summit. I know they normally do a regular cruising on Mondays, and I'm sure somebody could probably pull it up and find out. But hopefully there's going to be something on a Saturday, which makes it easier for everybody else. But I do recall there was some sort of every Monday they would do something, I think. But I'm not 100% sure. So, what was the other thing that I was going to talk about? Oh, I mentioned the headers that Sal's going to be making a new set, or probably tweaking the set that he has. Another thing we were talking about, and maybe give you some of the things we're talking about with the Fangled Fastback. So I know I've asked before for ideas for seats for that car, because that's going to be coming. I have to work out the bracket system or whatever I'm going to build for the shifter. And so I think I can still do that even without the seats. I don't see any reason. The seats aren't going to make that big a difference, but that is something we're going to be looking at later on. And then we were talking about the idea of, we have that MagnaFlow exhaust system. It's just not going to work. The crossover pipe just isn't going to work. And we realized that. And the discussion was, what could we do to make it different and put maybe exhaust cutouts on it? So that might be coming as well. We might be trying to, design something to where it could have exhaust cutouts. I still like the idea. Like I shown, I think I posted it on Facebook. There was my buddy has a 68 coupe, which is was kind of the twin to Jade, not the exact same color. His was a more blue, but I was over at his shop, and I took some pictures of his cars, and I'll share a picture so you can see. Let me see where I got here. But this was a really cool setup he had on his exhaust, and he made it come out the side. Now, the problem we're going to run into is all the suspension stuff in the back. As I demonstrated, we have the sway bar and the suspension arms and all that stuff. It's all kind of in the way, and it's gonna be really tough to make something come over the top of the differential and clear the other stuff. So let me see if I can get these pictures to come up. And it's going to take a minute. Well, I say it's going to take a minute. I know it went. Nope. Well, we'll see. We'll see what comes up. But let me see if they sent. Yep. Okay, so it's sent. It should have come. There we go. All right. So I'm going to download these two pictures and show them to you. I should have thought of this before. Everything's running a little bit slow. StreamYard had said there was a lot of people trying to do live streams, and so they had to. They were having trouble having the stream open up, and they kept telling me to reboot it. All right, so here's the first picture, and this was his 68, and you can see there the side, the exhaust coming out the side. And I think I took a picture of the back of the car from underneath. And so he's got, I can't zoom in, but I think he's got some sort of, exhaust there that, I don't know if it has cutouts or not. It's hard for me to see it because I can't enlarge the picture. But I know that he had the exhaust coming out the side, and that was something I was considering. Was what could we do? I'm zooming in on my camera on my phone. So he must have some sort of. I might have to look at that a little harder. That's like a turnaround muffler by the looks of it, because that's something I used on. I say turnaround. I used on Frankentruck when I built that. I had taken, MagnaFlow sells what they call a turnaround muffler, and it was designed for, I forget what year Mustangs, but basically it has an inlet and an outlet on the same end, so it just goes in, turns around, and comes right back out. I hadn't thought about that. That could work. Maybe. But I think that's what he did, and had it turn and then do a U-turn and then come out the side. So it's just going to be tricky because all the suspension stuff underneath there and just all of it just makes it really hard. Rick says, finally got the S10 to a mechanic. It was in front of his bay all day with the hood up. Hopefully he will find the problem soon. Too new a vehicle for me to want to try to diagnose. Okay. Well, hopefully he gets something figured out for you. Richard Vogel, good evening, Barry. I hope you're doing well. I'm late and will report to detention. When you're late, you have to bring the donuts. That's a rule. That's how it works. You got to bring donuts when you're late. Michael Pagliarini, evening all, late to the party, working on my yard. Well, you can bring some donuts too. Actually, you probably have access to gobs up there, so get gobs. Robert, I like side exhaust in front of the tires. However, it makes a mess out of the wheels. Ford did that on the F-150, then rethought that. Yeah. We may not have much of a choice. It's just because, now the other thing would be to do a straight turn down, figure out how to get to the muffler where the recessed area is in the floor, and then just have it come out and turn down in front of the axle. That's kind of the go-to whenever you don't have anywhere else to go. You just bring it down and let it sit. Pat, almost like NASCAR boom tubes. Yeah, that's pretty much what it looks like. And Boom Tubes is a company that sells those. Rusty says you can use speedy mufflers and boom tubes. Saw them on YouTube. Blah 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 blah. Blah. Too many T's and tubes and yeah. We're gonna look into it. We're gonna see what we can come up with. I'm starting to look like a donut. Okay, well, we have Karate. Glad to see all as well. Finally got here. Okay. I'm glad you're here. I see it appears you have a Bruce Lee image in your thumbnail there. Michael, donut goes right to your hips. That's a rumor. That's not true. That not for men. It doesn't do that. It doesn't go to your hips. Nope. Not true. I deny that. Yeah, but like we're saying, if we can come up with, and to me this is, it works. It's under it's behind the door, which you'll want that. And I might have done it just a little bit differently than what he has done, but that's fine. It's his car, and you got to work with what's there. But let me see if I have that other picture. Yeah. And so I'll have to ask him what he's using for those, for those mufflers. Because he has the system he has is not a TCI setup, but you can see it's got the panhard bar, it's got a sway bar, and, there's a lot of stuff in the way when it comes down to it. And unfortunately, nobody that I know of sells something that's directly designed for that purpose. And I don't know that anybody ever will. Because everybody wants it, to make something like that fit. It's kind of like the headers working with it, with TCI. Yeah, they fit this car, but they don't fit this car or this car or this car. Same way with the headers. You start designing something, you go, well, they fit. I mean, the exhaust, it fits, this configuration, the TCI setup, but it doesn't fit, XYZ other brands, and so people don't want to. They don't want to create multiple configurations. Everybody wants it. Everybody wants it just like one and done. So here we have. We built this XY, whatever it is, and everybody uses it, and hopefully it works. But a lot of times it just doesn't. Yeah. So anyway. I'm going to continue to work on getting pieces and parts together on the Honda, get it back on the road. Currently my daughter's driving my little CRV, and that forces me to drive my big GMC truck as well. So it adds up whenever you're trying to do. You're used to driving your little cheap car, and it's not here anymore. So you got to start driving the big truck to get around. It adds to the cost. It adds to the cost. Richard, I like the side exhaust for a race car. Yeah. Yeah, and I've seen them, not that I'm a fan of this, but I've seen where people have brought the exhaust like into the car and then brought it out on the side, like through the quarter panel. I'm not a fan of that. I mean, I've seen it. I guess I get the point, but no. That just makes a mess of things. Dave Tyson, as long as you keep the window up. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. If you go fast enough, you don't have to worry about it, right? Robert, there's a goofy muffler for the Choo Choo El Camino SS to make the side exhaust functional on them. I guess I'll have to look that up. Try to find that information. I mean, there's a lot of things out there. I was thinking about the boom tubes, and back when Roger and I were racing, the Chevelle that I was racing, we had what they call low back mufflers. I don't know. I guess they had boom tubes, but they had they were called low back, and what it was is low back pressure. And so you're required to have a muffler on your stock car, but they were really just barely a muffler. They had like a spiral on the inside, like an auger, so that the the exhaust went in and it just made a circle and came back out the other end. But they did what they needed to do. They met the requirement for racing because there were restrictions for that. Pat Addict, check out Spintech 180 mufflers. Yeah, I think Spintech makes the flat exhaust too, like the oval exhaust pipes. I think it's one of the companies that makes them. They're not cheap, which I don't understand that. I mean, I guess I do to a point, because all they're doing is taking regular, in my opinion, taking regular exhaust pipe and compressing it, which you have to have a big press to do that. I get it, but it seems like the pricing is pretty high for what that is. Now, I couldn't make that, I know, so it's hard for me to justify that it should be cheaper. But they're making the parts. If you want them, you're gonna have to pay for them. So it would take a pretty big press to make a long piece of pipe and just smush it just enough to make that oval. But that's what they do. 427 Mustang. I prefer the dump to dump this. I guess the exhaust 45 degrees right before the rear axle. My 67 has a Watts and 3-link with coilovers. I'm not running exhaust through there anyways. LOL. Yeah. Well, thank you for that. Yeah, there's, like I said, it's super tight. When you start looking at the sway bar, the shocks, the panhard bar, all of those pieces, and you're trying to put a 2.5 or even 3-inch exhaust through that space, it's a nightmare. And, sometimes you'd have to look at it like, well, I have to put the exhaust in first and then put the axle in. In most cases, you can make something. Like I've had stuff made at my buddy's muffler shop where he can do it. He does it on the car, and he can bend it and make it do what he wants. But when it's super complicated, oh, what a nightmare. It's just really hard to get something that is going to work. But we're going to look into that, some more. Like I said, of course, the seats and that configuration. We're going to, look at that, what's coming up with that. But there's, I have most everything else for the car to make progress on it. And I know I like to have stuff resolved. And that's why the headers have been a thorn. Because I want to make sure, I like to do things kind of step by step by step. And granted, yes, I can move on and go to another part of the car, and I will do that. But I just really like to have that little check mark done. Like, okay, the headers fit. Now I can do X, whatever, and continue moving forward. And maybe it's just the way my mind works. It's just kind of how I think, and part of that might be like even with the aircraft industry background, because many times you don't move past that point. You need to solve that before you go somewhere else, because if you don't, it may not get done, and you can't take that chance on aircraft stuff. It's just the mentality of it. So if you're doing a repair, and that's why you have to sign everything, and there's logbook, there's entries, and you have to sign your name all over the place. So if you did something and you fixed it, you sign it off and you say, okay, I did that. But sometimes there can be issues where somebody may start on something, and there's, you don't want to have a paperwork fumble, and you think, oh, I thought he did it, or I think I finished it, or whatever. And so you kind of hit that wall, and you're like, no, make sure that it's done before you move on to the next thing. And that's the mentality of it. And so that's kind of where I'm at. It's like, okay, this is my thing. I need to have this right because I can't move. Pat, I know how I feel about running exhaust through the rocker panel. Has been on my radar. Yeah, I've seen it done. I'm just I'm not really a fan. I end up seeing cars with soot, or you run risk of having hot. You mess up the paint. It's hard for me to. Now, if it was a more of a rat rod, like the Falcon, I could probably do that and not feel bad about it. The Allie 92992. Okay, welcome. The Batmobile had a top exit exhaust. Nah, that would look dumb. Yeah, it probably would. You don't want to do that. Pony Corral, just checking in from Oregon. Howdy, welcome. Glad you're here. I like your little logo there. That's pretty cool. Richard, what brand mini split did you install in your garage? In the garage, it's a Mr. Cool. In fact, I think Mr. Cool, they asked me a long time ago if they could use my video on their website. And I was like, yeah, I don't care. Go ahead. So I think it may still be on there. I don't even know. I'm going to download a picture here, or a couple of pictures that were sent to me. That one picture is probably a little too big. But I'll do the other two. It's kind of hard sometimes to get these get the pictures to work if they're too big. So let me see if this will open up. Yeah, that one opened up. Okay, and I need to probably delete another picture here somewhere. So, well, here we go. Come on. So, Jeet has sent me some pictures. Just drop you an email of what I've been working on. Check out my 67 Stang when you get a chance. Thanks. I'm going to show this. I mean, he sent me a big picture. It had like a whole bunch of work done, like a whole bunch of pictures all put together. And that really wouldn't work too well to show. But here you go. That's pretty cool. Whoops. Let me get my comment down. So I know your email said that those wheels are photoshopped, but still a work in progress. Car has been sitting since 1995. That's pretty cool. Let me show the other picture. There's an interior shot. Yeah. And like I said, the picture he showed me, he said the big picture was like a whole bunch of collage of repair stuff going on. So thanks for that. Looks good. Pony Corral says my son helped me with it. Oh, talking about the logo? That's cool. Yeah. That is. 427, side pipes sure do look good. Sorry. Side pipes sure do look and sound nice on AC Cobra cars. One of my future projects, building a Factory 5 Cobra XL to make one scaled up a little bigger now for us tall guys. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. 427, Barry, you need to tell us about your paint booth setup one day. Okay. I mean, I've talked about the paint booth before, and I've actually done some videos on it, but we can talk about that. Because the paint booth is really simple. It's just a bay. It's in the back of my shop. It's 14 feet wide, 24 feet long, just because the building is 24 feet this way wide. So I added on to the back and made it 14 feet. And all I have in there is two fans, two windows and two fans. And I use cardboard to block off everything but the opening of the fan or the screen. Because, like, hard to explain what I'm trying to say. When you open up the window, the box fan is bigger than the window, taller. And so it would actually blow and it would hit the upper window and come back around. And so I boxed off or took cardboard and blocked that off so it only blows out the lower section. But other than that, I have a couple vents I put in the wall. I just cut square holes and put in some filters. And then for the actual, let me see if I can identify these. I don't know. The filter system I have is actually from a real paint booth, and I have a desiccant dryer and or desiccant filter, and I don't know what the other one is, what it's considered, but there's two canisters, and so that's all really I've done. I mean, that's it. It's not complicated. And of course, you know, all the stuff you have to do, wetting down the floor, blow everything out like 10 times. I blow that, when I'm painting, I blow that booth out probably 10 times. I go over every corner, everything, the rails for the garage door. It'll get dust accumulating everywhere. And I just blast that, make sure it's all as dirt free as I can get it. And like I said, I wet down the floor, especially when you're doing clear coat. Base coat, you want to do that, but more so with clear coat. You really want to make sure all the, you know, there's nothing going to come up off the floor. David said, that's a nice car. It is. Pretty sharp. And Robert says, also the moisture remover over your shoulder. Moisture remover over your shoulder. Are you talking about like a vent system? Like for you? But yeah, well, you don't want to, like, I get it. I think I understand what you're saying. Like if you're breathing, moisture could accumulate. Is that what we're talking about? 427, I will go find a video. Just curious compared to what I'm using. Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty confident that I've done I think I've talked about it. Like I've made a video, I think, or I've shown it in other videos. Like this is what I have. Oh, sorry. Yeah, the air one. Sorry about that. Yeah, over my shoulder. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, that's the other thing. Sorry, I was confused. So over here in the corner is a Harbor Freight moisture separator. I've added that now. So when I'm doing the air dryer moisture separator, sorry, I was like, what are you talking about? Yeah, right there. So I picked that up from Harbor Freight, and that actually is plumbed into the very beginning. It's come out of the compressor, and I know they talked about it. Don't put it there. They talk about putting it closer to where your paint booth is, and that makes sense. But I also have the separation equipment all the way in the paint booth, and the fact is, if I wanted to, I can move that. It's mobile. I just have a quick connect hose connections, so I could completely move it, go to the back if I wanted to, and run a longer hose from the air supply to that, and then take another hose out of that and be spraying. So, but yeah, sorry about that. I was confused. But that thing, I picked that up last year. I think so. And that has been a benefit. Pony Crawl, he might be talking about the contraption that's over your shoulder. Yeah, that's right. and got it. Yeah. Sorry. I'm like, what are you talking about? Shoulder. Mr. Mike, that dark green text Robert is using is hard to see. Well, I don't know that it's by choice or default. I don't think he has a say in that. I think maybe it's the people that have the wrench authority might have a different text color. I don't know. So, okay. That's about all I have for y'all tonight. We're right at an hour, which is good. And I still need to get in the house and get something to eat. And I think we're just going to call it a night. So, thanks for being here. I'm going to be back next Monday night at 7. And we'll do this, we'll do it again, see what we can get done. Maybe I'll have more done on the Honda. Maybe I'll have more done on the Mustang, hopefully. But we'll see what happens. So that's going to be it for tonight's show. As I say, thanks for being here. And until next time, take care of yourselves. See ya.
Just give me something to start with. A little rest is fine. I'll give you many hours, a minute at a time. I don't care where you came from, but I want you to know I may have to start over. I'm learning as I go. When I'm done, I'll be the one to take you down the road. We'll leave behind our troubles, and everyone will know.